Rule number 2. Don't talk to a man first and don't ask him to dance. Rule number 12. Stop dating him if he doesn't buy you a romantic gift for your birthday or Valentine's Day. Rule number 7. Don't accept a Saturday night after Wednesday. Rule number 23. Don't date a married man. Hi girls, welcome to my channel, welcome to this community. In this community we talk everything related to self-development, femininity, and how to become the best versions of ourselves. If that is something that grabs your attention, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and to share your thoughts about the videos in the comment section. A little introduction about me is that I really enjoy all the topics that are related to femininity, relationships, human behavior, and because of this, I have been doing so many research about these topics, watching a lot of podcasts, and of course reading some books that, as you can see on the title, is going to be the topic for today's video. Some of them may be controversial, some of them may be triggering you, but I personally, when I dislike something or something triggers me, I try to understand the reason behind it, and without giving too much information, let's start with the first one. The first one is The Rules by Ellen Fain and Shori Snyder. This might be the most controversial one. This book is basically a guide with rules for dating for women that are looking to get married or being in a long-term relationship. Some people may say that this book is motivating women to play games by applying these rules, and some another people just would not like to see the kind of rules that you are going to find here. Some of the rules in this book are: Rule number 2. Don't talk to a man first and don't ask him to dance. Rule number 12. Stop dating him if he doesn't buy you a romantic gift for your birthday or Valentine's Day. Rule number 7. Don't accept a Saturday night after Wednesday. Rule number 23. Don't date a married man. I am not going to get in detail with every rule. I encourage you, if you are curious, to read the book by yourself, because you can have a different perspective of each rules compared to the one that I can have. I personally find this book very interesting in the sense that men and women are very different. Like it or not, this is absolutely true, and a big mistake that women do in relationships is expecting the men to think like women do, and that is never going to happen. And that is the reason why I like this book. In my opinion, these rules are just based on the fact that men create emotional connection with a woman after investing time, effort, and resources, compared to women that create emotional connection after having sexual relationships. And that is why most of these rules are motivating the woman to be more reserved, more mysterious. Don't chase the man, don't give herself too soon, because if she gives herself too soon, now she's going to be emotional attached to this man, and probably the man will not have the same connection. I know that this modern society doesn't like gender roles. There is a lot of feminists, and for a feminist woman to think that it's not a good idea for her to maybe make the first movement or asking a man out for a day, or maybe what is wrong with hooking up, this book is going to be a huge challenge to read. But I think that if you are not having success in your relationships, it's because there is something that you might be doing wrong. So be open-minded and try new things. I personally like the book, and as all the information that I get, I try to take a little of discernment, take the information that it resonates with me, try to understand the information with logic and facts, and the information that is not for me, I just ignore it, and that's it, and I continue living my very happy life. The second book is Getting to I Do by Dr. Patricia Allen and Sandra Harmon. They have a phrase that I really like, and it says, The women's movement brought us independence, but it did not bring us love. This book, some of the things that she promised you will learn are how to attract the right man, when you should make the first move and when you should not, and how to get engaged to the right man within a year. Again, this book is guided towards women that are looking to get married, and all the information is also based on the basic nature of men and women. I am going to be honest with you. I think that I am very traditional. I love femininity. I love being a woman. I love my feminine energy. And this book just opened my eyes to understand that there are women who just really like to rely more on their masculine energy, and that is absolutely fine. But because it was not my reality, I didn't fully understand this dynamic. But I am very open-minded and I like to learn new things. Basically, she explains in the book the concept of feminine energy and masculine energy, and how it's important for a relationship to be successful. Each partner should complement each energy, and this is regardless of gender. So you can be the woman and decide carry the masculine energy in the relationship, but for the relationship be successful, you need a partner that carry the feminine energy in the relationship, because it has to be the opposite, because otherwise the relationship is not going to work. And after explaining these concepts, then she starts to talk more on deep about relationships. The first thing she suggests you to do is decide what kind of energy do you want to carry on. Some women love their independence, their business careers, make their own decisions, don't rely on anybody, taking that leadership, and they don't really like to settle for anything different than this. So for example, the best partners for this type of women will be a guy with more feminine energy, maybe a man more passive, more receptive, and more emotional, and in this order they can have a very harmonious relationship. She goes deep explaining how the feminine behaves, what the feminine expects receive and what it should give, and also the same for the masculine energy. Another interesting fact that I learned is that she classified the feminine energy, the masculine energy, and the people that is confused as narcissistic, and that grabs a lot of my attention because this makes a lot of sense. So masculine use logic primarily and emotion as secondary. Feminine use feelings primarily and what you think is secondary, but narcissistic try to use logic and feelings equally, which ultimately neutralizes both and ends intimacy through competitive and conflict. So that's why you really need to know yourself and understand what is the role that you want to have for your ideal relationship. And besides that, she talks about how to attract the right partner for a relationship. Some of the key things for a successful relationship explaining in the book are chemistry, compatibility, and communication. Also, she talks about hormones and biology, that this is something very important to understand our behavior in a relationship. Also talks about sex, and again explain why women should not have sex without being in a committed relationship or ideally married. And she shared a lot of real life examples. Something important is that this book is wrote by a professional therapist that has been working with couples for a long time, so that adds a little bit more of credibility to the information. But again, you can read it by your own and take your personal notes about it. And to finish the video, one of my favorite personal ones, if you really want to understand human behavior, is The Evolution of Desire, Strategies of Human Mating by David M. Booth. He is a professor of psychology and an author. This book is based in one of the largest studies of human mating ever undertaken, encompassing more than 10,000 people of all ages from 37 cultures around the world. In this study, both reveal what women want, what men want, and why their desires are so different between each other. Bush also argues that human mating behaviors are created in a way to maximize reproductive success, and men and women have evolved distinct different strategies that face different challenges through all the times. Women tend to value resources and status in a partner because those traits historically provide security for raising child, and men, on the other hand, often prioritize physical indicators of fertility like youth and health. In this study, they found out that men and women across all the cultures have consistent preference when it comes to attraction. Also, he talks about typical behaviors in relationships like jealousy or infidelity and from where they might coming from. Also talk about the different strategies for long-term relationship versus short-term relationships. And what I found very interesting in this aspect is that usually in places or cultures where the resources are limited, people tend to look for more long-term relationships. The opposite, if the culture is stable and good financially, people may be more focused on short-term relationships. As well, it's not a secret that places like United States, some countries in Europe have a big presence of hookup culture, so this makes a lot of sense. The book is really big and it's packed with a lot of information. Maybe I should dedicate a whole video with key points or important aspects to it. But again, the experience of reading the book by yourself is very different. Anyways, if you like this kind of videos or want like a bigger review of the books, just let me know in the comments. We need to be very aware and very mindful that most of our behaviors are deeply ingrained as evolutionary patterns, and unless we don't understand them, we can keep repeating cycles or relationships or doing things that we don't fully understand. So knowledge is key, girls, and the most you learn and the most you understand, your life starts to become quiet, more easy. Thank you for being here. Remember to subscribe and hope you have a good day.